Hi friends, welcome to the next session. Now let us see uh, safety issues we have with a reinforcement learning system when applied to robotics. So the first thing is the reinforcement learning system believes in two actions. One is exploration and the other is exploitation. Exploration is randomly selecting some action over the environment, and this random selection of the action may not be always safe. It may lead to some unsafe situation. So they can be uh, damaging, devastating situation if we go for exploring. So there will be always a problem of safety when we are in the exploration mode. The next problem is regarding the design of the reward function. So while designing the reward function, we must ensure that the safety issues are also taken into consideration while this design. There will be a lot of constraints in the robotic world, and we must ensure that the automated system, which is a reinforced learned system, should not violate these constraints. So it should be well within these bounds so that it functions safely and all such issues are handled. And yes, what is in simulation can be totally different because under simulation, most of the time we work on ideal issues. But when it comes to reality, nothing is ideal. Everything is random in nature. So we are, in reality, we are working with a random process. And in simulation, we work with some deterministic process, and hence there will be too much of a gap between what is done under simulation and what is there in the real world. So this gap also becomes a safety issue. So if we are unable to fill this gap properly, then our robotic system can be highly unsafe. The next issue is in case of failures, how we deal with. So how do we deal with failures? So the failure handling mechanisms are another safety issues to be considered while designing any robotic system under reinforcement learning. And the next issue is about the lack of prior knowledge. So when a robotic system enters into any environment, there is no prior knowledge about that environment, and hence the exploration becomes a major problem. So, lack of this prior knowledge also can be a concern as far as the safety is considered. And the next issue is the sample efficiency. That means for making our robot system under reinforcement learning behave properly, we need a large number of samples for training, and getting this large number of samples for training and all that is almost an impossible case, and therefore It's another issue because always we deal with a limited sample size and our robotic system and the reinforcement learning system will learn only through these limited samples and anything outside the sample world can definitely create hazards and we can't expect what could happen if any sample outside this sample space is made available to the system. We can't predict how our system behaves because it is not trained for such situation. So this sample efficiency is also one of the issues for safety while training the reinforcement learning system for robotics. Now, some strategies to take care of the problems just discussed regarding the safety. So we ensure to have this exploration possible only under some constraints so that the exploration is safely done. So for that, we need to identify some safe exploration techniques. Only those things should be applied, not just any random exploration to be allowed. So under some constraint, the exploration should take place. So some techniques are required to ensure that the exploration is always done under safe limits. And regarding the uh, reward function, so we can make sure of using reward shaping because most of the time the rewards are sparse or delayed and because of this we won't be able to know whether the next step will be safe or unsafe. So to ensure the safety we make use of the reward shaping system and we must always ensure that the whole uh, learning system is working under some constraint satisfactory zone. So nothing goes beyond the zone. So through that we can ensure that safety is maintained. And we should have some failure detection system. And if we detect some failure, then how to recover. So some strategies we must have so that in case of anything goes wrong on the way, then we should be able to immediately identify that something is going wrong. And as early as possible, if we detect, then we can easily recover it back to its right path. Then we work in a dynamic environment, therefore, the safety measure, whatever we are talking, cannot be a static thing. So, the word safety, the meaning of safety will keep changing from time to time. Therefore, we must define safety in a dynamic sense rather than a static version. Then the best thing is make sure that a human is there in the loop so that most of the time a human observer will be there to ensure that the whole system is working safely. Then we have some ethical issues in the reinforcement learning systems used for robotics. One is about the safety and security. So, how to keep our system safe and secure. So that is one of the important ethical issues we have, and we must make sure that there is no bias, and all the action taken by our reinforcement learning system is fair enough. Usually, the bias is due to the very fact that the data what we have, the sample what we have are not well balanced. So in such cases, the learning system gets automatically biased towards the sample whose size is huge and the sample whose size is small. The class for which sample size is small may get neglected, and because of this, the future actions may be biased. So we must ensure that the training of the reinforcement learning should be done under unbiased condition. That means all sorts of possibilities should be made available to the reinforcement learning system while it is getting trained. So during the training session, all possible inputs are to be made available so that the training is unbiased and hence the results will be fair enough. Yes, of course, privacy is another issue when we are talking about, because when we are working on system, data privacy is one of the problems. So how to take care about the data privacy is one of the problems. Then we have unintended consequences. So they also lead to ethical problems. So we need to make sure how to deal with that. And then about autonomy and human robot interaction, how much of the robot autonomy should be given, and how much part of the activity should be under the human control. And if it is human control, then how interaction should take place are some of the ethical issues we do have. So to take care of these ethical issues, some strategies we can take, like we can develop some ethical guidelines and frameworks while working with reinforcement learning system for robotics. So we can focus on transparency and explainability. That means when you are training the data, whatever we have, there should be transparency in that, and we should be able to explain why any action is being taken under any condition. And we must ensure that fairness is there, and then we should avoid bias. So the sample should be made available such that the overall system is fair enough and does not have any bias. Then we should prioritize the data privacy and security. So make sure that which type of data is more important. So try to keep it more secure, and which type of data can be made available to the other systems. Yeah, this way we can ensure about the data privacy and security. Then we should try to involve humans in decision making process so that ethical issues come to surface if anything goes wrong, because the system or a machine doesn't have any ethical knowledge, so doesn't know what ethics means. So it can take up any action, and so, in case human is involved in this action, then definitely will ensure that the decision making is ethical. the learning process is ethical and all that. So the next issue is about transfer learning. So we look in what transfer learning is, how it helps in the learning process, how it simplifies the learning process and all. So let's see all these issues in our forthcoming sessions. So if you find these sessions useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you.